Okay, so in the last video, we talked about writing the introduction and the body paragraph and the conclusion, and now I want to talk a little bit about writing your lead, which would be in your introduction. So with writing your lead, it's good to look at some mentor texts and just see some good examples of what authors have used as a lead to get their readers interested in reading a book. So I put a few resources on here from Barnes& and Noble and um, Epic Reads and the Young Adult Literature site. And so I just want to show you some leads that kind of popped out at me. And then since the links are there, then you can look through those on your own. So the first one I want to look at is by Walter Dean Myers. It's from the book Monster. And he says, the best time to cry is at night when the lights are out and someone is being beaten up and screaming for help. That way, even if you sniffle a little, they won't hear you. If anybody knows that you are crying, they'll start talking about it, and soon it'll be your turn to get beat up when the lights go out. So his lead is really interesting because it gets you thinking several questions that come to mind. So for example, where is he that he might be getting beat up at night? And kind of what's going on with that, especially since the title is Monster. So that really catches a lot of people's attention and they want to read the book. So the next one that I wanted to look at was From the Knife of Never Letting Go, which is actually a book that we're going to be reading soon. And the first line from that is, the first thing you find out when your dog learns to talk is that dogs don't got nothing much to say. So that's kind of an interesting lead because you're starting to think about why is his dog talking, and then the language that the author used, Patrick Ness, um, where he says you're and don't got nothing. So it just kind of captures your attention a little bit to start thinking about what that book might be about. And then also the other one that kind of stood out to me was Divergent by Veronica Roth, where she says, there is one mirror in my house. And so immediately you're thinking, why would someone have only one mirror in their house? And it just gets you thinking and gets you wanting to read the book. And then on the other website from the book Feed, which I actually saw this on several of the sites, the first line from that is, we went to the moon to have fun, but the moon turned out to completely suck. So that one I like because it's kind of written in a language that you might connect with as a young adult reader. It just is written in what I would think would be language that someone younger might say. And then also it gets you thinking about why might they be going to the moon and what's going on with that. So those are all good examples of leads that you might use. So then to go back to our essay, I actually already picked one. The example that we've been using was from The Outsiders, and so I looked back in the book. And something that we want to keep in mind for this essay is that we always want to come back to that thesis statement. So remember, my thesis statement was, in order to make a change for the better, a person needs to be honest, understanding, and brave. Now, your thesis statement might be a little bit different from that, so you have to make sure that you check yours. But for me, I wanted to be thinking about when was an instance or what was a time where Ponyboy was brave. And so when I looked back, I really liked the quote right here from when Johnny was talking to Ponyboy in the hospital right before he died, and he said, like the way you dig sunsets, Pony, that's gold. Keep that way. It's a good way to be. I really like that quote because it kind of explains what Ponyboy's character is like. And in some ways, he's kind of he's very different from the other characters in the book where he appreciates things that are beautiful and he can really talk to Cherry. So I really like that one. So I'm going to use that one as my lead. So now what I would do is I would take that, and remember you have to have it in quotation marks, and instead of having the word lead here, I'll just put it down here. Now remember, this should all look like a paragraph, so I have to fix this a little bit once I cut and paste it in here. Remember, we have to indent. You don't need the word introduction here either. That's just for us to know that this is the introduction, but in your essay you shouldn't have that word. But again, I'm indenting. I made sure that I had, oops, better get my quotes in there. So I have quotes around the part from the book, and then I also referenced a page number. Now again, I don't have a complete sentence here with my title and author, so I need to fix that. So I'm just going to go back and reread it. Like the way you dig sunsets, Pony, that's gold. Keep that way. It's a good way to be. So I think what I'll do is I'll write Johnny tells Ponyboy this in The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. And now I have a complete sentence. So I'll go back and reread. Like the way you dig sunsets, Pony, that's gold. Keep that way. It's a good way to be. Johnny tells Ponyboy this in The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. The story revolves around Ponyboy, a member of a social group called the Greasers. So I'll just stop reading there. But just make sure that you go back and you reread that paragraph to make sure that it flows well. So that is it, and if you have questions, you can let me know, or you can also watch the video again. Make sure to look over the websites that I provided you as resources. Again, those are the links that are up here. You can look through. There's lots of good examples from mentor texts that show you some really interesting leads that you can get an idea of what you're looking for your book.